And in 6 years, you've let 30,000 criminals go, right?
That's correct.
And you don't have the slightest idea how many of them committed another crime and came back.
I don't have that number in front of me today,
And you
sir.
run the Bureau of Prisons.
That's correct.
And how many employees do you have?
About 40,000 employees.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Before you released them, did you contact any of their victims to say we're about to let this guy out?
Senator, it's my understanding that that notification happens through the U.S. Attorney's Office, but I will check into that and get back to you.
You don't know?
Senator, I don't.
Have you followed up with the U.S. attorneys to say, do you have a system to say, hey, we're about to let this guy out? Would you, we want to be sure the victim's contacted?
As a former victim's advocate, I share that value, that victim notification should happen. I'll check on the process. And I'll
But
get
you
back
don't
to
know if it's happening.
That's correct, Senator.
Wow.
Senator John Kennedy, known for his sharp wit and pointed questioning, was about to confront a top Democrat administration official, the director of the Bureau of Prisons, Colette Peters. What followed was a blistering exchange that left viewers stunned, as Kennedy exposed shocking gaps in knowledge and accountability from the official tasked with overseeing America's federal prisons. Kennedy asked about the First Step Act, a major law aimed at prison reform and inmate releases. Peters confirmed that roughly 30,000 inmates had been released under the program since its passage in 2018. But when Kennedy asked a critical follow-up, whether victims were notified before their offenders were set free, Peters admitted she didn't know. She suggested the U.S. Attorney's Office handled it but had not confirmed the process herself. The senator pressed harder. Had she ever checked? Again, the answer was no. Let's dive in.
Director Peters, you're the director of the Bureau of Prisons, is that right?
That's correct, sir.
You used to run the correction system in Oregon, right?
That's correct.
Yeah. Oregon legalized drugs, is that right?
That's correct.
Oregon's about to reverse that, is that correct?
Senator, I'm not familiar with the policy proposed to reverse that.
Oh, you just ignored Oregon?
Oregon still has a very special place in my heart, sir.
Okay. You haven't read any of the articles about the reversal?
I haven't, Senator.
You don't know anything about it?
Correct, sir.
Okay, wow. You're in charge of implementing the First Step Act, Director?
That's correct.
How many criminals have you released under the First Step Act?
So First Step Act for the overall release since the initiation of the First Step Act is, I have that exact number in front of me.
You don't know off the top of your head?
Sorry, Senator. So 70% of those that were released, we have about 30,000 individuals that have been released since the passage of the First Step Act.
All right, so you've released 30,000 criminals under the First Step Act. Okay? And how many of them, before you released them, did you contact any of their victims to say we're about to let this guy out?
Senator, it's my understanding that that notification happens through the U.S. Attorney's Office, but I will check into that and get back to you.
You don't know?
Senator, I don't.
Have you followed up with the U.S. attorneys to say, do you have a system to say, hey, we're about to let this guy out? Would you, we want to be sure the victim's contacted?
As a former victim's advocate, I share that value, that victim notification should happen. I'll check on the process. And
But you don't know if it's happening?
That's correct, Senator.
Wow. Okay, of the 30,000 criminals you let free, how many of them have come back? Have committed a crime again, hurt somebody else?
So that number is one that we're still looking at as it relates to the recidivism rate for those that were released on the First Step Act.
You don't have any idea?
No, Senator.
You don't have anybody at the Bureau that can count?
I do not have that number in front of me today,
So let me get
Senator.
this straight. The First Step Act was passed in 2018. This is 2024, am I right so far?
That's correct.
That's 6 years. And in 6 years, you've let 30,000 criminals go, right?
That's correct.
And you don't have the slightest idea how many of them committed another crime and came back.
I don't have that number in front of me today,
And you
sir.
run the Bureau of Prisons.
That's correct.
And how many employees do you have?
About 40,000 employees.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Look, I believe in justice. I believe in treating everybody fairly. But there are people out there, I don't know why, if I make it to heaven, I'm going to ask. They're not mixed up. They're not confused. They're not sick. It's not that their mama or daddy didn't love them or not enough. They just hurt other people, and they take other people's stuff, and we have to separate them from society. And the director let 30,000 of these folks go and can't tell me today how many have come back. I just find it takes my breath away. With 40,000 people. How many of your 40,000 people are actually coming to work or are still working from home, Director?
The supermajority of our employees come to work every day because we're running 24/7
What percentage are coming to work every day?
The percentage is quite high. I don't have the exact
You don't
number,
know?
But
Well, maybe there's your problem.
the supermajority of our individuals come
If they're
to
not
work
coming
at
to
our
work, they
institutions.
can't give us the answer. I've gone over. I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman. This is why people hate government and don't trust government. And I appreciate, as usual, Dick, you made good points. Here's my point. I didn't vote for the First Step Act because I was afraid this was going to happen. And what I hear you saying is that of the 30,000 that the director released, over 3,000 committed another crime and are back. Here's my question. How come you know that and she doesn't?
Because she's probably looking
And the
for.
40,000 people at the Bureau of Prisons who are supposed to give us this information don't know.
Well, I'd like to say in all fairness, she's under oath, and I think when you ask for numbers, she wants to make sure she tells you a number she can live with. I have this information. I think it's probably close to being 100% accurate, but I wouldn't say under oath it is. So I think give her a fair opportunity to respond. I mean, it just might not be the type of thing that comes
But
rolling
you're
off the tongue.
not, it's not your job, and I appreciate the information, and I'd like to see the study that shows that. I just don't understand why the director has no idea.
Well-
She didn't say she was uncertain, and she wanted to go back and check. She said, I don't know.
Senator John Kennedy's exchange in this hearing was not simply a heated back and forth. It was a textbook example of why congressional oversight exists in the first place. From the moment he began questioning, Kennedy demonstrated a command of the facts and a commitment to holding officials accountable that few are willing to match. His line of inquiry was precise, logical, and rooted in the public's right to know. In just a few minutes, Kennedy exposed multiple alarming truths. The head of the Bureau of Prisons had released over 30,000 inmates without being able to say how many had reoffended, whether victims were properly notified, or even whether there was a functioning system to ensure those notifications occurred. With a workforce of 40,000 employees, the inability to provide such basic and crucial data was more than troubling. It was a glaring sign of leadership failure. Kennedy's pointed "oh my God" reaction wasn't political theater, it was the honest frustration of a lawmaker hearing, yet again, that the people in charge of major federal agencies can't answer the simplest questions about their own responsibilities. His persistence underscored the stakes. These aren't abstract policies, they affect real victims, real communities, and real public safety. Rather than accept vague promises or bureaucratic deflection, Kennedy pressed for answers, making it clear that accountability is not optional. He gave a voice to crime victims, demanded transparency for taxpayers, and reminded every public official watching that their job is not about holding a title, it's about delivering results. In an age where government agencies too often operate without scrutiny, Kennedy's performance was a much-needed reminder that tough oversight serves the public interest. His questioning wasn't just justified, it was essential. By refusing to let incompetence hide behind polite evasions, Kennedy proved once again why his style of blunt, fact-driven oversight is exactly what Washington needs.